Hello, this is Dane at Jonah Custom Guitars. This is actually a guitar I hadn't planned on even doing any video on. A little brace repair initially, just a finger brace just inside the X brace here. There's a little finger brace kind of right off of this corner, and it was loose. And when he detuned his E string, literally tuned it to D. You could hear a little vibration in there, even tapping the guitar top you couldn't really tell. But so as I was gluing the neck back in the Gibson, the 70 Gibson J50, I had some hot hide glue, so I was kind of waiting for that. I hate to spend 15 minutes heating a pot of glue up to do a 2-second job. So glued the brace, went ahead and clamped it in, and there again, you might recognize that from the J50 and from my neck jig. It's my headstock peg head jack on that. Anyway, I just stuck it in the guitar and jacked it up underneath the brace to do that glue up. It worked out the best. I had some other clamps trying to figure out how I was going to get them in there and get it all, clamp in the right place, and that little jack seemed to be the easiest thing to do. Mosquitoes flying around. Anyway, this is a Standell guitar, and the reason I decided to go ahead and do a video is I pulled the truss rod cover off. I had the previous, kid that brought it in, somebody along the line had actually had too narrow of a saddle, and had taken all kinds of shims with probably soda can or something, and stuck them in the front and in behind the saddle to tighten it up in the slot. And then at the same time, that saddle was perfectly flat on top, so you had no string radius on up here, only at the nut. And this just happens to be a zero nut as well, which is kind of interesting. So a lot of the older guitars like. So this is American made, USA. Standell, first one I ever heard of. I heard of the group, the Standells, back in the day. The reason I thought I would go ahead and run video on this is because, and you may or may not be able to see down, I can't tell looking at my little screen. This is a double truss rod, just like a Rickenbacker. And I thought that was interesting. Anyway, so I've taken those out, not the rods, just took the nuts out. So I had a bit too much after getting the saddle in and setting the thing up. Adjusting all that good stuff. I've really had too much action. I should say neck relief. The action is where I want it, or just a fuzz high. But I have too much neck relief, so I'm going to tighten the rod up and bring the action down, the string height down a little bit, at the same time getting the neck relief in more of a correct position. I used a bone saddle. I don't know how well you can see this. The top is pretty humped. I have no idea the value of this guitar, and I didn't think I would be selling the guy a neck reset, so I'm going to just deal with that. I may, before it's all over, go ahead and shave this bridge just a little bit, although I'm clear here. I don't have any string buzzes. They're not detention. I have to make these tools occasionally, so I just took a 1/4 inch socket. This happened to be a 9/32. Took the 1/4 inch socket and ground it down so I had a thin enough wall on it that I could actually get in here and do a rod adjustment. I did a refret on a Rickenbacker bass, I don't know, a year back, a year and a half back. Did the same. It had a 1/4 inch nuts on those double rods in that thing, and so I did the same thing, had to grind one down. I also have a 5/16 that I've reworked, because a lot of the Gibsons are too tight, even for the standard Gibson wrench that you get from StewMac. Anyway, so I did actually take the nuts off, lube them up. Excuse me, lubed them up and reinstalled them. Just brought them up to where they had equal tension, and then basically, just snug. And then I went ahead and did another 1/4 turn on them. Well, no, it wasn't even a 1/4 turn. I don't know. Straight up to sideways. I always have a problem computing. That's a quarter turn. Not quite, because I didn't lay it past the strings. So anyway, I went ahead and checked it. I like to kind of check it when I don't have any string tension on, or not a lot of string tension, and get an idea where I'm at. And I got a little bit of a back bow. You can hear that thumping along. A little bit of a back bow in there. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten it up. I wasn't planning on this being a very long video, and I still don't think it will be, but I'm just going to bring it back up to tune and then see what my relief looks like. And that's all I wanted to really show you was the that double truss rod on this. But another thing was it brought to mind the idea that a lot of stuff, a lot of chatter about taking your strings off one at a time, not you know, to not mess up your truss rod. If you change your strings out, you should do it one at a time, so you don't have a lot of change in tension on your neck, you know, all at once. Well, I mean, I think that's kind of goofy, just to put it plainly. I you know, have guitars in here for weeks at times with no string tension, no strings at all. Guitars with no necks in them, you know, so the neck is sitting out by itself. You know, if your truss rod is working correctly, there is absolutely no reason to not take your strings off. And if it throws your neck into a super back bow and it's going to be off for a while, just loosen your truss rod. You know, let it straighten itself out. And when you restring it, tighten it up to where you need it. I personally never tighten a truss rod with string tension on. I see lots of guys do that, so I guess it can be done. I've never been comfortable with that. In fact, it's not unusual for me. If I don't want to loosen the strings, I've got blocks that are slotted for the strings, and, you know, radius, and I put them on the board, and then I put a clamp and clamp a little back bow into it, so I have no string tension whatsoever in a rod that's giving me a little bit of grief, and, you know, we'll snug it up at that point. And I don't clamp it with pressure on the rod or anything. I'll loosen the rod up and then clamp it into a little bit of a back bow, and then take the slack out of it and then give it a little extra twist, so that the rod is not having to do any work other than just stay where it's at once you get it there. I just feel a lot better about that. So anyway, just going to tune this thing up real quick and see. Yeah. I'm going to use my phone app. I saw this app on Randy Schardinger, and I just commented on Jerry Rosa post about trying this app out. It's a great app. It's called Pro Guitar Tuner. This is a free one, but this is the like the $4 app, so you don't have, you know, whatever comes with the commercials or something that might come with the free one. Anyway, it's got a very clear readout. Just all right. Capo this thing here real quick. Check that relief. Actually, just a quickie. Yeah, I might have to loosen the truss rod a little bit. Looks like I might have come up just a fuzz too much. Alright, so I've got my gauges at 12. Actually, I am snug now on that. So, put my eyes on real quick here, just for fun. So where I'm at right now, I've got 4/64s or a 16th, and I've got about a 32nd T64s on the high E. So I'm probably going to want to take some tension off that rod, but I got to beat on it a little bit and see. Anyway, that's I just wanted to share a couple thoughts about taking string tension off all the time. The other thing about that is, you know, if you've got a Strat or some kind of, you know, trem outfitted guitar and you don't want to go through the hassle of going completely off and then re-stringing everything up to tune. You got to tune it, you know, 4 or 5 or who knows how many times to get all the strings stretched out and get, you know, the springs engaged again and all that kind of stuff. And that is quite tedious. But obviously, if you're working on something, you got to pull the neck off. There's not an issue with the truss rod. If the truss rod is functional, then there's just absolutely no reason to worry about taking all your strings off and you know, cleaning the guitar up good. You know, you can never get polish of the headstock or, you know, under the strings, or get the fretboard really clean with strings on it. So it's just a good opportunity to get everything down, you know, apart and clean everything up really good, and then put your strings back on. And if you're not working on the guitar and you're only going to be, you know, have your strings off for half an hour, say, you take them off, you clean your guitar up, you put them back on. Couldn't hurt a thing in the world. I would agree, and I've never had it happen. I've never cut my strings at tension, but I would agree that the guys that say don't cut your strings off at tension, I think that's a valid point. I do just, you know, loosen them up, slack a little bit, and then cut them off. But at tension, yeah, you do run the risk of having a, you know, tuning machine problem. But you still, even cutting your strings, you ain't gonna have a truss rod problem. Your neck is not going to shatter from cutting your strings off unless you've already got a problem with your neck. You know, you might have dropped the guitar or done something, and it could have a, you know, a fissure running through it you don't know anything about, and then you do something like that, and sure, you're going to have an issue. But not because you took all your strings off at once. That's yeah, can I say that again? I think that's ridiculous. Anyway, so if you disagree with me, I'm sorry, but how would you ever fix a guitar if you couldn't take the strings off of it? How would you put a new saddle in or adjust anything if you had to be that worried about having the truss rod go south on you? Just seems unreasonable. Anyway, I've beat that horse enough. I'll let it go. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. I'm going to just play this a little bit and you know, see if it rattles at all, because it is pretty low now, because I've got that neck fairly straight, and I may loosen those rods up a tad just to get a little more relief in the neck if I've got any rattles. Otherwise, I'll leave it alone, because I'm one of those guys that likes action low, and I think the kid playing this probably would appreciate it. So we'll see. All right. So I just kind of want to do a little finish up on this Standell, and just to mention a couple other things about it, to show you a little better picture of it maybe. It's got a kind of unique headstock. I did mention it was a USA made. I haven't looked the serial number up yet, but I did look just quickly online, and I found another one that is extremely similar to this one. Same, has an arched back. It's a carved arch, or it could be pressed, you know, like the you know, the hollow body, semi hollow bodies pressed. But there's no interior back bracing in this guitar. It's just a dish. And so, and you can tell it's thicker, but it's also you know, the dish. So anyway, I did have a previous repair on the back of the headstock. The peg head was broken off, and you won't be able to see that, but you can see I don't know if you can see in this light or not. Maybe I don't have that one plugged in. There's a definite, just sharp, jagged line here where they painted the back of the peg head and down the neck a bit, just black. But there was a crack repair here, and it's not a bad repair. It just wasn't sanded out or anything. What was the other thing I was going to mention? Oh, and when I found the picture of the other Standell, I guess I could push this down a little bit. The other Standell, it had the type, and that's why this is so wide. It had the adjustable type of bridge saddle. So I don't know if they just, I didn't see holes in the bottom of these slots, so I think the bridge had been replaced on this. It looks like from around the edge, the perimeter of the bridge, that it's been messed with. The other thing is, well, okay, yeah, so that's, I don't know why they would have had to replace the bridge with that wide a slot, because it's a lot wider than kind of what's standard. It was a lot higher than it's standard, you know. It was at least a ½ an inch tall off the guitar, which could be could be why it seemed like it needed a neck reset, because there's really, if you look at it, it's got a little bit of a body hump, but it's not excessive for, you know, a guitar that's probably 40 or 50 years old, or older. The other thing was interesting. I did go ahead and shave this a little bit because this saddle was just a little too low in the slot for my likings to get the action where it needed to be, and just for conversation's sake, I did loosen the truss rod up another fuzz on each nut, and that brought my string height up from 4/64 to 5/64, and then 3/64 on the high E. It was previously 2/64. So anything else of interest or note? That leaves me with still less than 10 thousandths or 12 thousandths of relief in the neck. No buzzing or anything. Anyway, it sounds good. It plays. I don't hear anything, you know, odd or weird about playing up the neck. This is kind of the open E position up the neck. Not a bad sounding guitar at all. I think it sounds really nice. Don't know what you can hear with this little camera. Anyway, I don't know if the camera's squeaking or not right now. I've noticed a lot of the videos that I've been putting up, I thought it was my heater making a little squeaky noise that I wasn't hearing, you know, while I was working. But it turns out that the camera, if you've got nothing else going on, it's making this really, really light squeaky noise. I don't know if it's doing it now or not. But with none of the background noise happening, I was standing right next to it and I heard it. And so that's what's been coming up on all the videos, if you've noticed that little squeaky thing. And I can't do anything to fix that right now because I can't go out and buy a new camera. And my iPad is full. And I can't think of anything I need to delete from that. So as it stands, we're going to suffer through the squeaky camera if you can deal with that. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching. If you like it, hit like. If you like it enough, hit subscribe. And comment. Tell me what you think about this guitar. Tell me I'm full of poop about the truss rod, one string at a time versus take them off and don't worry about it. You know, I'd like to hear your opinion, as would others, I'm sure. So hey, thanks for watching. Take care.